rate of slowing down, you know, in terms of percentage-wise, does it matter?
A stable currency is always important for economic growth and stability. So anytime you have a situation, yes, when your currency depreciates, it benefits exporters, but that's if you have the industrial base to produce exports for exports. Okay, so generally, let me just make a statement: a stable currency is always a prerequisite for economic stability and economic development and growth. When you have a situation where your exchange rate is all over the place, it creates too much uncertainty, it undermines planning, and is not conducive to growth. And that's all I want to say on this, and that so that the policy, and I think the policy makers understand that. Why we have these spikes is anybody's guess. Okay. But if you ask me, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about the economy. This conversation was not supposed to be about the economy because I don't like to make economic. If you ask me, the biggest problem of this country is corruption. Because people forget, corruption has a way of feeding itself into everything and making everything expensive and therefore destabilizing your economy. Because if your budget says that you're going to buy this item for 2 cedis and you end up buying for 20 cedis, that 18 cedis has come from someplace. So, and corruption is so deep in this country, I don't know how we're going to fix it. But I believe that if we're able to get a handle on corruption, the numbers will begin to correct as well. Because the level of corruption in this country, at any level, is and people say, provide proof. You know, the ostrich in reality doesn't hide its head in the sand.
You're one of the major shareholders of Cal Bank, a bank that you once served as managing director. And for me, it just brings to sharp focus the issue about building capital. For young people out there who look at people like Frank Adu, for instance, and want to build capital growing up, do they find themselves in an economy that is likely to help them to do this? And what really do they have to do? What did you do?
You see, the young people of today presents a different conundrum and prospect. So-called millennials and Gen Zs and whatever it is. What did I do? When I was growing up, my father told me that, first thing, young man, you must not spend more than you earn. You must never borrow for lifestyle. And then he said, and if you can't afford it, try and save a little bit of your salary every month. And that's what I did. You've got to discipline yourself so that you begin to build capital. It doesn't matter how much or how little your pay is. I transitioned from a job which was paying me 15,000 cedis a month 40 years ago to a job which was paying me 100,000 cedis a month in 1990. Okay? And for the next 2 years, I lived on 15,000 cedis a month and bought T-bills of 100,000 cedi face value T-bill every month for 24 months.
Were you not from a privileged home?
I wasn't. What is a privileged home? I went to a public school, what you call Kaki or Saito.
You have relations with the late venerable J.B. Danko of old, don't you?
J.B. Danko wasn't a wealthy man.
He wasn't?
No. J.B. Danko wasn't a wealthy man. J.B. Danko was not a wealthy man. My father was a civil servant who retired and went to live in Dansiman in a 2-bedroom house. There's nothing, you see, people have to understand that you've got to sacrifice, work hard to build capital and liquidity. Then you can leverage that. You do not get up and go to anybody and say, I have an idea, but I don't have any money. Okay? Meanwhile, you're living the life of the rich and famous. I think a lot of young people, they go to restaurants that I won't go to. Okay? And then they can't say, Uncle Frank, so. But where were you last night? I was here. But that place, yes, I mean, two of you spend 5,000 cedis. Are you mad? I will not today go to a restaurant and spend 5,000 cedis for 2-3 people. I won't. Why would I do that? All I'm saying is the young it's a difficult environment, but the young must understand.
So you do acknowledge it's a difficult environment?
Of course, I've got sons in that age group. They're all struggling.
Imagine, you earn 3,000 Ghana, so you've got to rent a decent place, which is costing you in excess of 2 years. You've got to provide a 2-year advance for that. You've got to take care of yourself. You've got transportation to take care of. How are you going to make do with 3,000 Ghana cedis a month?
It's difficult.
So aren't you being unfair, when you say probably some of the youth are living beyond their means?
I know a lot of them are living beyond their means. I have a lot of people I mentor. I'm not saying I have a lot of people I mentor. I have a lot of people I mentor.
What's the place of mentorship